Hey, 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 welcome back to another edition of the best women's boxing show, period. I am Cynthia Conte.
And I am Jeandra LeBeauf, back with Cynthia, and we are looking like the news reporters today.
Right?
Looking like the morning show. Looking
Hello,
like Jennifer Aniston and Homegirl. What's her name? Reese Witherspoon?
Reese Witherspoon. Yeah, but we're very different today.
Yes.
I'm really sad. We're not even in the same color, at least.
I know, but we still have the same vibe.
We did, blazer.
Blazer and boobs. There it is. There it is.
Okay, well, on a serious note, real fast. So something that was in the news, well, not in the news, in Twitter world, and especially boxing, we saw Gennadiy Garcia defeat Jose Benavidez Jr. Do we really want to see that run back? No, not really.
Definitely not.
Not really. And what was the best part about that fight, because Gennadiy Garcia moved up in weight, was his post-fight interview about mental health, that he was in a dark place, and he actually cried. And it was really touching because no one has ever done something like that in an interview or in any kind of interview. So for him to be raw and honest and cry and just be forthcoming to the crowd, because it's a stigma that men can't cry or men can't talk about mental health, and he did.
Yeah, it was particularly touching to me, too, because when you look at the Garcias, Danny and his father, Angel is always the most outspoken one who commands the camera, and Danny's usually quieter. He does all his talking in the ring, and just to see him so open and vulnerable, and it was really, really refreshing, and it'll inspire a lot of people who are feeling that way and don't feel comfortable.
Yeah, and I like that, and Ryan Garcia even tweeted about it, and there was like some back and forth that it's different. You know what? Mental health is mental health, whether people are sitting on an island. You know, Lou DiBella said it best. If you've never gone through it, you would never understand. People suffer in silence. So just because someone has a smile on their face, you don't know what's going on behind within themselves. So be kind to everyone, and especially Cecilia Brækus, who we just interviewed. She talked about her mental health and how she overcame it, and for her to get back in the ring after what she's gone through with COVID, her losses. And so it's you know what? We're glad. So more boxers or just more people come forward, and don't be silent, because share your experience, share your stories, and that will help you heal.
Yes, and it's not a blow to your masculinity, men.
Yeah.
If you talk about it's not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength to show that you have these issues and there is help out there. And even for Mauro Ranallo, who was on the call, he took a big leave. He got his dream job working at WWE. He had to step away from that because he was having his own mental health issues. And it's a heavy cross to bear just in regular life, and then particularly in COVID and people being to themselves and not being able to go home, and foreign fighters who couldn't go home, borders locked. It was just a whole convoluted thing. So the most important thing is to seek help, reach out, and don't suffer in silence.
Yeah, so kudos to everyone, and thank you, Danny, for sharing your story, because people that are fans, non-boxing fans got to hear and say they resonate with you, and you could have possibly helped someone and possibly saved their life. So thank you. Now we're going to segue into something different, because this was a complete shocker to us, because our next guest, which we assumed was on Zoom, so when we get the email saying, oh, he's coming to you, what's that even mean? But apparently he made the trek because he just happened to be in Las Vegas. He's a former boxer, cruiserweight and heavyweight, trained by the one and only, the legend, and the late Emanuel Steward, who also carried on his legacy, Mr. Johnathon Banks,
who popped up on us in the studio. We had no idea.
Yes. Thank you, ladies.
Oh my goodness! It was a surprise. Like, no one even said. We're like, Madison, did you see it? Maybe he's sitting there,
like chilling right there outside the studio.
I was in the quote unquote green room waiting for my chance, waiting for my chance to be amongst the queens of boxing.
Oh, thank you.
You dubbed us that. Thank you.
It is an honor and a pleasure to be here.
We're gonna get some tiaras.
I know. You know what? I got me some. Badou Jack is going to be fighting in Jeddah on the Usyk versus Joshua 2 undercard, and you are training him. So we kind of figured. I thought Badou will be in Big Bear. Does he train in Big Bear at all?
He did a couple times. He trained up there.
You don't like it?
I mean, He got more of his people here in Vegas.
Got it.
Than in Big Bear, so it's a little bit easier for him to train right out here in Vegas.
How about you? Is it hard for you? Wait, who does he train with? If you're up in Big Bear, do you have to come down here and train him?
I mean, it just depends on the certain days of the week. I have people I have around him to make sure the videotape to make sure he's doing what he's doing. But every time he need pad work or need anything, that's what I come down for, and then I go back up to do the same thing in Big Bear.
That's crazy. That's such a new thing in boxing in the traditional sense. You went where your trainer went, or your trainer went where you went. How is that different? How does that feel to you as a trainer to have to study more tape now because you can't be with your fighter the whole time?
Depending on who started training camp first, they will come wherever I'm at. That's usually how it goes. But once they started at the same time, then I just put pieces together. But as far as the studying tape and film, that part is always easy because that's what I do. So that's easy. It's almost like you are reading a magazine. Simple.
So just start reading about you, and I've interviewed you several times, but we've never really gotten into like you becoming a trainer, because you growing up in Michigan and watching the late Emanuel Steward, you studied it. You've watched him since you were a kid. You train like him. When I read about it, it's always Emanuel Steward, Johnathon Banks. Did you know back then that you wanted to be a trainer?
I never wanted to be a trainer.
What did you want to do?
I just wanted to box. That's it. I just wanted to fight. I never wanted to be a trainer. Emanuel told me, this was like maybe 2005, 2006. He was telling me that, you know what, Jonathan? We was sitting having a conversation. He said, I think you'll make a good trainer. I said, why would you say that? I wasn't trained. He said, you think a lot like I do. He said, you understand exactly what I'm saying. When I hear you explain stuff, I agree with everything you say because you explain it like as if I would. And one day we was in training camp, and he said, you know what? If I couldn't make it, I would have you train Wladimir. And I started laughing. I said, Emmanuel, listen, honestly, I thought he was just blowing smoke. I'm just being honest. But when the opportunity came for me to do it, I didn't know how much that I retained from him until I started teaching the sport. It was amazing. And I credit that to not only the major component is like the president. The major component was Emanuel Steward, but the other pieces that I was able to get around me was trainers like the late Luther Burgess, the late Mr. Logan, the late Mr. Walter Smith, just the Lee Crenshaw. It's so many, Bill Miller. It's so many people that was around that time when I was coming up. The Emanuel was the youngest of all of them, and he was in his 60s. These guys was in their 90s. I mean, the late Walter Smith was telling me about how he was down there at Brewster Center when Ray Robinson was down there. And he was down there when Joe Louis came down there. So I got a very at a young age, I was learning about the history of what I was in, of the sport I was in. And for me, it all was amazing, because the same gym Ray Robinson trained at, the same gym Joe Louis trained at in Detroit, the same gym Emanuel Steward trained at, just so happened that was the gym I started training at, over on the east side in the Brewster Projects, Brewster Center. And Emanuel ended up going to Kronk, and I, as the same as I. So it just, the journeys, it was almost like a needle and thread. The journeys just so happened to come together eventually, but they all started two separate times, but eventually they all came together. 96, that's when I started boxing. Wladimir Klitschko wins a gold medal. No one ever will assume that I'll become his trainer.
Right.
You know, so like I'm going to my first fight and he's going to he's winning the gold medal. You know, it is all insane. But once it all come together, you know, it's just something that worked out.
That is a big order to fill. You have that first day where Emanuel says, I want to shift you over to Wladimir Klitschko, who's already renowned. What was that first day with the two of you like? Did you kind of size each other up like, I don't know about this, but what do you remember of that first day?
It wasn't nothing that you can imagine, because this was told to me over the phone. This wasn't told to me in person. This was told to me eventually when, this is right before Emanuel went to the hospital. He told me, he said, Jonathan, if something happened to me, I can't make it, I want you to train Wladimir. Again, he said it on more than one occasion. I honestly.
You didn't believe him?
Didn't think nothing of it. I didn't. So I'm home in Detroit on my way to the gym. I pull up at the gym. At the same time I pull up, my phone rang. Wladimir called. Wladimir said, he talked, he said, JB, I need a coach. I said, okay. He said, I don't think you understand. I want you to be the coach. And my exact words, same tone. I said, okay. He said, what did you say? I said, okay. He said, why would you say okay? JB, why would you say okay? You have never trained about your life. Why would you say okay? I said, listen, you asked me to do something. And I said, okay, if you want me to do it, I'll do it.
I'd be like, are you sure you want me?
He said, you sure you can do this? I said, you want me to do it, so I'll do it. And I'm thinking I'm doing something as a one-time thing, and then eventually Emanuel come back and take over. So I walk in the gym, and I tell the late, it's a guy named Keith Lee, the late Keith Lee, I said, listen, man. He said, what's wrong? He said, Wladimir just called to ask me to be his trainer. He said, you could do it, son. He said, as long as you've been around Emanuel, as long as you've been around all of us, he said, you can do it. And that was the first piece of inspiration. I said, you know what? Let's see what happens. And so after that, my phone rang again. It was Tom Loeffler calling me, telling me that you know, we got you the Seth Mitchell fight. I said, when? He said, November 17th. I said, shoot. He said, what? I said, Wladimir fight November 10th. And he wanted me to train him. So I called Wladimir. I said, listen, I need you to bring my whole camp to where you at. He said, no problem.
Okay.
So when I got to camp, Wladimir said, okay, change of plans. I said, what's change of plans? He said, I'm not sure who I'm going to get to train. He said, I want you here. I'm just not sure. Let's just see what happens. And after the first time he did pad work with me, he just dropped his hands. He said, you know what, this is it. I have no doubt. He said, I can't even believe I second guessed myself. I have no doubt. This is it. This is the right idea for me. And I said, okay. So I called Sugar Hill, and I said, we gotta go to Austria because, you know, I gotta train Wladimir and get ready for the fight. So Sugar Hill said, okay. So Sugar Hill and Sugar Hill and I was together once Emanuel passed, and we was together when we left camp to go to the funeral and all that stuff. So it was an insane situation, you know, but I don't know. I don't know if I was able to. I lived in the moment because that's what I always have done. Just a personal thing. I've always enjoyed these moments that I was in. So when I look back at something, I just hate having any type of regrets.
Absolutely.
So I'm always enjoying the moment. So when I speak stories of Emanuel, yes, I miss him like crazy, but I'm very fortunate that I was able to live in each moment that I was in.
This is so crazy and full circle to me because I remember this very clearly, the Seth Mitchell fight. That was the very beginning of me working in boxing. That is the first fight that I ever went to that wasn't a club show, was when Seth Mitchell fought Chris Arreola out in Fantasy Springs. And I remember that was supposed to be your fight. It was around that time. Right. But this is really kind of serendipitous, and I'm getting old. All this is sounding great to me. And so then you and Wladimir, you go on to make history, and you work well together until he gets to Anthony Joshua, et cetera, et cetera. He's over in Ukraine now. doing things with his country. Have you even been able to touch base with each other?
I try to keep contact with him at least.
How are they doing spirit-wise?
Once, sometimes twice a week.
Okay.
Really?
And his spirit's up high. He's telling me, he said, JB, listen, when the war's over, I want you to be ready. He said, we got some workouts to do.
Oh.
And I just started laughing. I said, look, call me anytime, brother. Like, whatever you want to do.
Wait, hold on, because we going to sensationalize. You doing some workouts. Does he want to come back?
I have no idea. I'm not even.
You don't
attempting
want to ask that part.
Ask him that. But I just I tell him all the time, just if that's what your heart desire.
That's awesome.
Who am I to say don't follow your heart?
I mean, he just got inducted in the International Boxing Hall of Fame, so
exactly,
for him to possibly want to come back out and fight, that's an honor for us to see him.
For sure.
You have come full circle because we just interviewed Cecilia, and I remember that she fought with you, and then it's kind of crazy because when you said you're in Big Bear, so let's get this story straight.
I want the whole story because this sounds messy.
Let me get my tea.
Okay. I just love it. We gonna let him tell it.
I'm acting like I'm reading. The magazine.
It's all upside down now.
I just went a whole nother direction.
So,
Big Bear is a little town.
Yeah, it's very little.
Very little.
So when I interviewed Gennadiy not the first time, but with you were at Shane Mosley's gym, and Cecilia was over at Abel Sanchez's. And then
no women allowed.
Yeah. And then now I asked, I'm like, is Abel retired? And I get he's grandfather now. Like his son is having a child. And I looked and I remember seeing a video that Ali Akhmedov posted. I'm like, that sure looks familiar. I'm like, that looks like Abel's gym. I'm like, is this an old video? I'm like, and I had to go through Ali's thing. And I'm thinking, so Gennadiy is training at Abel's gym with you, with Cecilia, and with Ali.
Correct.
I can't help it. I'm sorry.
This is correct.
Okay. How did that all come about?
For sure, because it was a little ugly last time.
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, it was sad, and and everyone's moved on, and Gennadiy is now in training camp. But how did that happen? I mean, honestly, that's a little weird.
Was it a group text?
I know Tom Loeffler had to make things happen.
Tom is a miracle
and he
man.
said it was hard, but did it feel a little weird for you to be training in Abel's, to be training right now these fighters, because they all have massive fights?
For me, it's no weirdness at all.
For Gennadiy?
For him, I spoke to him about it, and I waited till the gym cleared out. I said, listen, dude, how do you honestly feel about being here? I said, this house was here before you started your career. At the same time, this house, the foundation became this house because of your career. I said, make no mistake about it. I said, because of what you did in the ring, it's the reason this gym this whole city has a reputation to have. Don't get me wrong, people talked about it before he came, but it didn't have nothing like an effect that it has since his career has been established. He let me know that he feel okay about it. He said, I said, you able to come to the house, pretty much you helped build. The foundation of this house is GGG. That's just the foundation of it, and he said to feel okay about it. I know I spoke about it is because I understand how fighters are humans first, and as much as we try to take that human side out, we have feelings and everything else, and a lot of times, as a man. You don't want to. The hardest thing for most men to do is to face something that hurt you, you hurt your feelings, because just you don't want to deal with that.
Yeah,
you're supposed to be all action, no feelings, and that's the reason I addressed it. I want to know how you felt about it, what you think about it, and right from what I see, from what I hear, he's okay about it. Yeah. He faced the fact that, whatever happened is in the past. They both had respect for each other, and that's the most important. I'm just coming from the outside in. I didn't have anything to do with anything, but I will always respect Abel Sanchez.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the things he's done in the sport, and that's, for me, that's with any, especially an older veteran trainer like himself, and all the veteran trainers. I was taught at a young age that, you know, that disrespecting trainers because of, you may agree or may not agree, like you leave that alone. You don't do that, you know. So I would never do that.
Even when we asked Cecilia, you are back now with him, and she said, yeah, we spoke it, we talked about it, and I asked about her training methods, about what she learned from Abel and what she's always known from you, and she said she's coming back to her old ways, her best version of herself, of being a skilled technician, that boxer, that killer instinct that we've always seen in her. So we're excited to see her in the ring. But yeah, we just had to ask. I mean, I was just you know, a little curious.
Exactly. I asked her, I said, what's the road work looking like in the morning? Are you guys passing each other on the street? Like,
I know. When you guys were training, I was like, this is so awkward. We would go to Shane's house, and then we would go down the street to Abel's. I'm like, Tom, he's like, I know this is weird.
Yeah, it is.
But I'm glad everyone, you know, it's all come full circle for all of you guys. And now this is the first time you're in Gennadi's corner facing Canelo in this trilogy. This one's a little different because we've all seen how Canelo has been. He's like really in his prime, but then we saw him lose against Bivol, and people said, oh, Canelo even said, I'm going to use this fuel to batter Gennadiy. And you said it in the last two fights, there were things that Gennadiy could have done, should have done. How do you train him for this fight? He's a little older. For me, I don't think age ain't nothing.
It's not. How do you even build? Not build him back, because he's been fighting, but after pursuing this, it's so convoluted. It was the whole reason, the move to DAZN was to acquire this fight. So what are the building blocks for the third fight? Is it mental conversations? You finally, bad blood, bad words, so many things have been said between the two of them. What has been your role as the trainer, just keeping him up or grounded even now that he has his third opportunity?
My role is just to prepare for victory and go over every scenario that could possibly happen, that sound crazy, that still could possibly happen. My role is to allow him, to get him to see the fact that he needs to use his skills and to drown out every voice, every article, every person that's either saying yay or nay. Because if you listen to the yays, you better believe you listening to the nays as well.
Yeah, of course.
And it's just it's supposed to be just 100% focus on doing what you need to do to get this victory. My opinion, I tell them all the time, this is going to be a fight. It's not going to be the battle of skill. It's going to be the battle of how smart you are as a fighter. That's the bottom line to it. Like if you look at Braylon and Tommy Hearns, skill-wise, especially the first fight, Tommy was beating him, but Ray was smarter. Usually when you got guys that either medal or especially gold medalists, they show you how smart they are in the ring. They show you why they won that gold medal, you know. And it's important that me and G talk a lot, and I tell him how good of a boxer he is. I said the reason you don't get credit for that is because 99.9% of guys that punch like you, they never think about boxing. Only thing that matters is they punching power. So they become one-trick ponies. I said, but what happens if that one trick fails you? What happened to the guy that takes the best shot? Do you just lose every time you get a guy that could take a shot? No. Yeah. You always have more than one way to win. And that's what we're going into this fight with, more than one way to win.
That's good. Because
So if you knock him out, cool. If not,
everyone assumes Gennadiy is going to go for the knockout. That's what you assume. And
I mean,
that's what we assume Canelo is going to try to do.
Exactly.
Well, Canelo said he wants to knock him out.
They both want the knockout. I'm not telling you that he can, G or I myself don't want the knockout.
But there's other ways to win.
But there's other ways. There's you can go for the knockout by, let me see. I could wash your car, but I could also put air in your tire. I don't have to do one thing or the other. You know, so I although yes, the knockout is wanted, but there's ways to go about getting it. It ain't just stop, sit there and shoot one shot and hoping that land and that's go get it. There's other ways it's more than one way to get the knockout.
After spending all these multiple fights with each other, do you have to teach him to practice patience because he's fought a specific way for so long, and so reconditioning his mind to look for other ways to win at this point, is it a difficult task? Do you still have to pull him back and say, hey, I told you don't do that. We are looking for other options. It's not just about the power knockout.
That's almost every fighter. When you start fighting, you become aware of what's going on around you. And as your awareness grows, you become sharper in certain moments. So you figure, you know what, let me try this. This works best for me. And someone on the outside may, whoa, that don't look right. You shouldn't do that. Then you say, okay, let me try something else. So fighters always are able to. I never try to get my guys to when I say 1-2, they just only throw 1-2 and that's it. They wait for my instructions to do something else. No, let's be creative. Let's keep trying new things to see what works. You know, I don't have a problem growing with the fighters.
Yeah.
Because fighters are one thing that I don't ever want to take away or disrespect when the fighters, they are in the moment. So although with them being in the moment, they are in the action, mixing it up. So their thought process have to be faster. Their reaction have to be fast. So when they have an idea and they want to try it, I'd rather you try it with me and I'm seeing what's going on, then you say, you know, I always want to try this. And this in the middle of a fight. You in the 11th round, you got the whole fight, you got the whole fight won. You try this thing and you get knocked down, and now you got to fight for the rest of your. Now you got to fight for your life. Yeah. You know, you got to fight a life on your hands because you tried something that, you know, otherwise everybody say, oh, don't try nothing else. Just do what I say. Do what I say. No, I don't. I like to mix it up, get the ideas, especially from veteran fighters. And I think two people, you can learn a lot from each other that way.
It's good. You also have Ali Akhmedov. This is a very big fight. Even he lost his last fight, but he's a veteran in the sport. When we think Gabe Rosado, he's coming to bang. Shane Mosley Jr. told us his game plan, remember? And he was like, people think he fights a certain way because what they see, he's like, honestly, it's not. And so is he excited about this fight?
This dude won't stop talking about it.
Good, I love it.
Put my phone on silent because I know he's gonna be calling me.
How's his English?
For me, it's good. Like, I mean, we talk back and forth quite a bit, but if I talk too fast, he let JB, please slow down. I don't understand. You know, so.
Oh, that's great.
So I talk a little Russian to him. He talk a little English to me. So.
Oh, that's good. Oh, I can't wait to see them. He's fighting on the undercard of Gennadiy. Yeah. Cecilia's going to be fighting. She just said her fight got pushed back in September in Colombia. You got a lot of traveling. You must have really good frequent flyer miles.
I know. Hook us up.
You want to gift us?
I pretty much always had frequent flyer miles, so that was always a plus. This is just a little bit more than usual. So.
And then Gennadiy, you're going to be here. We're going to that fight. We've already put it in. We're not going to UK to go watch the female fight because A, it's too expensive. We need sponsors for that. But Jonathan, we're going to expect like some kind of red carpet service to Gennadiy. Feel like we want to interview Jonathan.
You know, while these fighters are keeping you busy, I'm looking at you. It's been a long time
Skinny
since
mini.
You have trimmed down a lot. So I want to know, did you trim down because Sugar Hill is always running around shirtless?
You guys run around shirtless? Come on.
Have you had to talk to him about that? Because he don't wear no shirts no more.
I haven't. Sugar Hill has been the same person since like the 90s, since we started with each other, man.
He ran around shirtless?
I mean, he would be the first one to walk around the house with a shirt on. But that's
him and Tyson or Fury are perfect then.
That's Sugar Hill. Sugar Hill is he's one of the greats in the sport when as far as training fighters. And I learned a lot from him. I traveled with him I travel a lot with Emanuel as well, but hit the road as a young teenager with Sugar Hill, going to different tournaments and stuff like that. You know, so we had a lot of time together. You know, and it's like it's always been a family with me and him. And it's the same as with myself as well as Emanuel was. You know, so, you know, seeing what he's doing, he always have done it. So it's awesome to see it, though.
So what kick-started the weight loss? You know?
The actual motivation behind it, like you was talking about mental health, it wasn't that. But right around when COVID first started, that's when it came, when it really, really hit. I had a lot of close family members that was really like not in shape or nothing like that, and it was dying like crazy. I lost a lot of family members, so I said, you know what? Let me get in shape. Let me get back in shape. And the first thing I did, it was a whole month before I started working out. I just changed my diet.
Yeah.
So by the time I started working out, everything just started falling off easy. So, and that was the process behind it, because like the first thing COVID did was like it attack your immune system.
Yeah.
So I started building my immune system. I started getting back in shape, and that's what allowed me to be able to continue to work and continue to travel.
Would you do an exhibition fight?
I've always asked, would you come back out in the heavyweight division? Why not? I mean, everyone's coming back.
I would love to, though. To be honest with you.
Really?
Who would be your trainer? Sugar Hill?
Sugar Hill.
That'd be awesome.
Who'd you want to fight? Maybe like Roy Jones Jr.
I don't, as far as wanting to, there's nobody I'm just like, oh, I want to fight this person.
I want to whip his ass.
I don't.
Vladimir?
I don't have a person.
Vladimir said he'd make, well, I mean, he's assuming he would come back. Would you ever fight him?
But I don't think so.
But let us promote.
He would ask me to train him, so.
Oh, that's no fun. We would like to see you both.
He would ask me to train him, but there's nobody I see that like, oh, I want this guy, I want that guy. You know, but you never know.
As you know, we are the best women's boxing show, and of course, you've trained a female. Are there any other female fights, like, say, Clarissa Shields versus Savannah Marshall? Are you excited about that fight? Or Michaela Mayer versus Alicia Baumgardner?
And how would that fight go?
Alicia Baumgardner come a long way.
Yeah.
So that's good for her.
Does she have the skills to win, defeat Michaela Mayer, who's...
I haven't seen her in a while, so I don't know about skill factor. She have talent. Talent she has.
Yeah.
I remember I seen her fight, and then I said I wanted to talk to her. I said, can I talk to you? She knew who I was, but I don't know what she thought I wanted to talk to her about. But I asked her, like, I want you to come to training camp. This when I was training Cecilia back then. And I brought her to training camp. She was working with Cecilia. And then I trained her for like, I think 1 or 2 fights. Her first North American title fight. I trained her for that, and she got that title. So she was she's a really, really good prospect. She punches well. She's a hard worker in the gym. And I wish her nothing was the best. She's a pretty good prospect coming up. You know, good. She's a pretty good prospect. So I'm hoping she. I'm not picking the winner, but I wish her all the best, definitely.
We have her on later on tonight for the second time, and she's fun.
She's a character.
She's very colorful with her words.
Exactly.
She's gonna be dog walking, as she said. This is Alicia's words, that she's going to be dog walking Michaela Mayer. So, I mean, there's a lot of things I can't say, and I curse a lot, but this is a lot.
Okay.
But she's a fun person, though. Tell her, so when she get on, tell her Jonathan says hello.
I will. God, in her arms. I remember we were talking to her. I totally forgot the question.
Came in studio
I was like, your arms are mesmerizing. She is jacked.
Yeah, she could punch.
My God.
And like I say, for me, I think she got a good chance to display her skills.
Yeah.
And I just hope she don't drown her skills out with muscle.
Yeah.
Like Tim Bradley.
That's what I hope. Because a lot of fighters, they get so into fitness that they forget about the boxing is a profession of skill, more so than just strength and condition. And they get lost in that. And a lot of times when you come up short, it's because of all the muscles got tired.
Yeah, like remember Anthony Joshua? They were like, "Is he a bodybuilder?"
Exactly, exactly.
Okay.
So I just hope that she stick with her skills, and I think she'll continue her success if she do that.
Okay. And then what about Clarissa Shields and Savannah Marshall? Are you familiar with them?
I seen Savannah. I'm familiar with Clarissa Shields because we from the same state. But Savannah Marshall, I seen her fight once. Believe it or not, I trained quite a few females, but I don't just watch female.
Yeah.
I don't even watch a lot of male boxing.
There's a lot of fighters that we talk to.
Sometimes I just rather watch a movie
because they don't want to take it home.
Derek James says the same thing.
Away,
yeah, he's like, I don't want to talk about boxing after I've been on all day.
Yeah, and plus, like my spare time, I'd rather just either watch regular TV or watch a movie, and just sometimes you gotta forget about something to come back because you're going right back to it the next day anyway.
Do you have a hidden talent? Derek James came out and said he used to be a fashion designer.
He sure
so
did.
He knows how to
still
sew
does.
things. Yeah,
he makes
knows
curtains.
And I kept saying make Errol Spence and
he can
sew.
He's made ring gear.
Yeah.
Did he say he made
No, he doesn't know how to make a lion's head, he said.
I started trying to sew when I was younger.
Really?
I never stuck to it.
Why did you try?
My mother used to just to hem my pants and stuff like that. So I want to learn how to do it. But I played the piano with my mother though. She taught me to play the piano.
Are you good?
And I actually took a piano class in high school.
What do you play, like Mozart or Furley?
I don't play anything.
No
more.
Chopsticks?
You play Mission Impossible?
I used to play it when my first song I ever played was "Lean on Me." That was the easiest song.
Wow,
that's pretty good.
Yeah, but I was like 12, 13 years old trying to play the piano.
Bring the piano in.
I know.
No, just kidding.
So that was a long time ago. And I haven't touched one in a long time. So
you know what's crazy? I don't know what trainers in piano. You know who else wants to learn how to play the piano? Red Spikes, who trains Terrence Crawford.
Oh, really?
He's super into that too.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Exactly.
Maybe it's just it's a meditation.
Or maybe it's like a dexterity kind of thing because you spend so much of your career with your hands bound. Is it a dexterity kind of exercise?
I don't. See, it's different for me because I don't know about him, but I didn't spend the whole time my hands bound. I actually used my hands.
Oh, that's true. So that's true.
Me is different, but it was so. I wanted to play it because I remember when I was waking up for school at 5 a.m. The piano was playing. My mother was playing the piano, and I come from a family. My mother had 10 children, so we had this small house. She playing the piano. Breakfast, we smelled breakfast cooking. So I fell in love with the piano. I woke up to the piano. So my mother will always play. Her favorite artist was Mahalia Jackson.
Okay.
So she playing and singing Mahalia Jackson. So the first songs I learned how to play was old gospel hymns because that's what my mother played. That's all I was. I learned how to play other songs when I took a piano class when I got to high school. But yeah, that's the reason I fell in love with the piano.
Okay.
When you hear gospel in a black household, that means it's time to get that ass up and start cleaning.
or get ready for school. One of the two.
If you could work with a fighter from any era, even before you were born, if you could work with a fighter of any era, either as a trainer or as their pupil, is there somebody you would have been like the dream collaboration for you?
100%.
Ooh, who is it?
Sugar Ray Robinson.
He's buried in my hometown. He's buried in Inglewood, California.
I know, of all places. That's interesting.
Random.
But started in Detroit.
I always start in Detroit.
Random.
Does it carry heavy on your shoulders knowing that you carry Emanuel Steward's legacy, that he's the one that bequeathed you to go for Wladimir and said you can do this?
Because that's the reason I started. It's the reason that two things. I don't give guys. Some guys I don't give a hard time when they reach out to ask to work with me. Some guys I do give a hard time when they ask to reach out to work with me because how serious I take it. I negotiate different prices and tell them, no, it's not about the money. This is more so for passion because of who started me in this.
Yeah.
So this is more so something personal with me. I was telling one condition coach about it a couple weeks ago. He didn't understand it, though, as a personal. It should be just business. I said, well, to you it is because you never fought.
Yeah.
You know, and the person that got me in this, like, I still look at it as if he asked me yesterday to do it. Told me that's what I should be doing, and it's just resonate different for me. So win, lose, or draw, I take it. I put everything into every single camp, and if I can't put everything in that I need, if I can't give my fighters everything they need, then I'd rather not be there at all.
Yeah.
Where does your legacy lie within that? You know, to establishing yourself, you trained some mighty people in the sport. So where does Emanuel's legacy end and yours begins? How do you distinguish those?
I don't even care about that. Like, I don't think about it, to be honest with you. I'm just really trying to water the flowers that was given to me. Because I think that the flowers that he gave me, which was teaching me the sport and putting me around so many different people that taught me so many different things, for me, it's just watering those flowers. I don't like who talks to the gardener. You know what I'm saying? I don't look at it like that. I'm the gardener. I'm only pouring water on the seeds that he planted. And if I see them blossom and grow, that's all for me personally. That's all I need to see.
That's beautiful.
Who's reached out to you that you told no, that we would know?
Oh, yeah.
And how often do you have to say no? And you could tell us, and we could just clip it out.
Yeah.
Quite a bit. But
Wilder?
No, it's just,
Joshua.
You know, it's certain people that wants me to come into a situation and be in a situation to follow another person's lead.
No, that's not.
And I can't do that.
I mean,
I can, but I don't like being how can I put this?
The second in command.
I'm not the cheerleader.
I know that's right.
You know.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not the cheerleader type. I'm not rah just to say rah. If I say yes, let's go, it's because we're doing something together. So we're going.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Not you're going. So that's different. And my personality is not the type. I'm not the loud guy in the room. I'm never the loudest guy in the room. I'm not the guy that's go look everybody. I'm not that guy. So I am who I am. You know, so sometimes like I figure I could work with anybody. I can get along with anybody. But if they not coming to dedicate 100%, then it's difficult to make it happen.
About Robert Garcia coming into his camp and helping him out, and just Anthony Joshua, will he look any different? Will he be able to be more aggressive? Because he can't box. He can't box Usyk because that's what he did the first time, and we saw what happened. You can't outbox a boxer.
I mean, yes and no. You got two different platforms that you could use on. You got the boxer that's a mover. Because if you go back in the past and look at someone who outboxed a boxer, Tommy Hearns outboxed Ray Leonard. Surprisingly, Ray Leonard is a far better superior boxer. But he outboxed him because of the way he did it. He wasn't boxing the same as Ray Leonard. He boxed different than Ray Leonard. So he was able to outbox him. He was able to start outlanding him. So it all depends on Joshua's approach. If he chooses to box, he can outbox because you got to understand that every time he attempts to throw a punch, Usyk have to be cautious because Usyk know he's the bigger puncher. So he has to be cautious. So use that caution to continue to box him and keep him backing up and keep him moving and keep him going backwards. And while you as AJ gaining more momentum coming forward, and you able to catch him and hurt him, because now he's more cautious of your movement than you are of his.
Okay.
If I'm AJ, you make your opponent more cautious of your movement than you are of his, because AJ's the bigger puncher, AJ's the bigger guy, and if AJ start putting anything rhythm-wise together and start moving and start boxing him, it's going to be a problem for Usyk, because Usyk is not going to be able to take his time and piece him up like he did in the first fight.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to make it difficult. So it all depends on, like I said, it all depends on how he chooses to come, how he chooses to fight him. If he just go brawl mentality, I think Usyk is gonna keep spinning him. Every time he come forward, it's gonna be like the bull and the matador. He's gonna keep spinning him, touching him, spinning him, touching him.
Okay. And Wilder, we saw him with Badou Jack. Not sure who's training him, but that's why we're like, did he ask you? We're not sure.
Yeah, we were trying to piece it together.
I know, CIAJ over here.
Look at what we have here.
See, whenever something, he goes and looks at the magazine.
I would tell you this. When I first heard Deontay Wilder's name, I got a call from Emanuel Steward. He said, "Jonathan, you would never believe this." I said, "What?" I just gave pad work to a future heavyweight champion of the world. I'm like, "Who?" He's a young kid down here in Alabama named Deontay Wilder. I'm saying, "For real? Alabama?" He said, "Yeah." Next thing you know, it happened.
It happened.
But he said, "This man hit my hands harder than anybody I've ever felt." And he started telling Wladimir, the people, like, you got to start looking out for these people, because this kid is coming. And because when Emanuel passed in 2012, me and Wladimir started talking, like, who's this kid Emanuel was talking about? He said, "Can you find him?" I said, "Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I know Deontay Wilder. Let's get him in camp." And that's when we was able to get Deontay Wilder in camp. But
and his story is great. The only reason why he started boxing is because of his daughter who had spinal bifida.
Listen, I know
a great story.
We also talked about a kid that only started boxing because someone stole his bike.
Oh my God, that's so crazy.
So the reason behind it is like, man, the one kid started boxing because it was a way to stay out of trouble.
Yeah.
You know, then that's ended up being Mike Tyson. So the reason behind it seemed priceless, but I wish Deontay Wilder all the best, man. He's one of the purest punchers that ever graced the stage in boxing.
How does he come back? How does he come back after those 2 losses from Tyson Fury?
You got a twofold way. You got to figure out who's the common denominator, who's the voice in his ear that can teach him.
Who's his trainer? Is it?
I don't know.
I don't know who's. What's that? The guy?
Malik Scott.
Oh yeah, that's right. I keep thinking the other guy. Okay, Malik Scott. He's his only trainer right now, correct?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I'm not sure. That's something you have to ask them. I'm not. Too
We've been
sure
trying. They don't
for a couple months.
Right, but it's a way. It's 2 different ways you come back. You come back like, oh man, you know what? I'm come back like I never left, or you could come back to rebuild yourself and to establish who you are in the sport of boxing. So, I mean, that's the only 2 ways. So we'll see what happens.
How would he fare against Andy Ruiz? He's been calling him out. Andy's been calling out Deontay.
I mean, I don't blame him. Like, where the money fight gonna be at?
Yeah.
Right?
Why not? That's the money
Why not?
fight. This man is dangerous. I don't know. I mean, Andy Ruiz, the way I think a lot of people go start underestimating Deontay Wilder because of what Tyson Fury did. But Tyson Fury, it's not what Tyson Fury did, it's what Tyson Fury and Sugar Hill did. You know, so you got to have a combination to that standard.
Yeah.
Everybody don't have that, you know. So it's going to be very difficult to get that close to Deontay Wilder as an Andy Ruiz, thinking you go piece him up like that. I don't see it happening.
Yeah.
Not saying it can't, but I'm just saying I don't. I don't see it.
I'd like to see Deontay back in the ring.
Absolutely.
You know, he's still a formidable opponent. I mean, he's got the equalizer. So
The sport is better when he's
It is. It really is much better.
That's what most people saying. Like I think a lot of people. Even when I go to different places, a lot of people say, "Man, this Deontay." Everybody talks about Deontay Wilder because he knocks people out.
Yeah.
You know, so I just like for me, as always, I did when I first met him. I just wish him nothing but the best because, like you said, the man can punch. Regardless of what you say about him, skill, this, that. He could punch.
It's funny because Emanuel Steward said that about when you said that about Deontay Wilder, that he's a future world champion, and he said that about Tyson Fury. And it's like he knew. He knew. Just who else did he say about that became champions that we don't? I mean, Tommy Hearns.
Yeah, he did.
Lennox.
He said it. A lot of people that. Well, that's about for the most part. For the guys that I've seen, that I spoke to him about. But, you know, he was good at predicting if this person's still on the right course, that's the next champion. So he was good at predicting it.
Wasn't Eminem training over at Kronk for a little bit?
He wasn't training at Kronk, but he did hire Emanuel to start training him. And he got to the point where he started sparring too.
Is he good?
It was crazy.
Is he good?
He got pretty good.
That would be fun to see him in exhibition.
He should fight Jake Paul.
Oh my God!
Oh my goodness, that would be insane.
That would be amazing.
And a great concert too.
Oh my God!
Yeah, right. A great concert. That's funny.
Why don't you go fight? I mean, if Jake Paul or Logan Paul.
You slim down. You know,
Yeah.
Can you make the 205?
I wouldn't fight at 205.
What would you fight at against someone like him?
I mean, I would have to go like between 217 and 220.
Yeah, no, that's off the. Hasim couldn't even get that.
So
there's no way.
But you know, these YouTubers that's boxing, they making a lot of noise in the sport of boxing. So.
They brought a lot of eyes to the sport.
A lot of fighters don't like it, but I don't think you can ever blame a person for taking advantage of opportunity. If you blame somebody, you blame the people that allowed it to happen.
Yeah.
You don't blame the people taking advantage of
the
the
powers
situation.
that be. We have these sanctioning bodies that have like some crazy rules and crazy belts. And
exactly. What I don't understand, this is what I don't understand. I don't have nothing against any sanctioned body at all. But if I pay you to fight for your title, how can you force me to make a weight a certain way?
Wait, to force you to make a certain weight.
Like how they have those.
To make weight a certain way.
Oh, make weight a certain way.
I can't be over a certain pound a certain amount of days for the fight.
Yeah, IBF.
That shouldn't be none of your business.
As long as I'm on weight when I get there.
Yeah.
As long as if I'm supposed to be this weight for 5 seconds.
Yeah.
As long as I make that weight for 5 seconds, leave me alone.
Leave me alone, yeah.
I don't understand why you don't have more people pushing back on this, because
how much are sanctioning fees? Can you tell me?
Yeah.
It just depends on
roughly. Say like
if they don't have listen, this is the catch to it. This is the craziest thing in the world. It should be a certain amount. They don't have a certain amount. Go off how much you make.
Wow. What? Oh. Ooh.
That's why.
We share a brain.
That's one reason. That's one reason, in my opinion. I don't know about Pretty Boy Floyd, but that's one reason why Money Mayweather never became undisputed.
Oh, got it.
In any weight class, because his name became bigger than the sanctioned body.
Yeah.
So he like, listen, either I fight for it or I don't. That's on you. So, you know, that's what the sanctions.
How do they know how much you made?
You have to report it to the commission.
Oh, yeah. Damn.
And who's best friends with the commission? Who give the contract to the commission? The sanction body. This is our rules.
Yeah.
And certain sanction bodies, certain commissions, they say you got to weigh in when you get to the arena. Why? That shouldn't be none of your business. What I weigh when I walk in the gym, in the locker room, that shouldn't be none of your business
until you hit the scale.
Yeah.
Like no, I'm saying the next day. This is the night of the fight.
Oh.
It should be your choice The commission should. Why do you know what I rehydrated up to? You shouldn't.
So the only,
as long as I made the weight when I was supposed to make the weight, that should be all.
The only sanctioning company I know, Body, is IBF, and they are crazy.
But they say you can't rehydrate 10 pounds within 24 hours.
Do you think? I think I kind of like that rule because, so
how
then
is that even possible? If you haven't been drinking water for a week, soon as you take a sip,
you like it long as it goes long as it don't go against what long as it don't go against what you're doing, your routine.
Yeah,
but if it goes against your routine, then all of a sudden people don't like it.
So, but. So we see these fighters that drain themselves and then they go put on like 20, 30 pounds overnight. I think it's so dangerous because the way that they're taking off the weight.
That's what people in science say is dangerous. Why is it actual factual dangerous? The people that's making the rules about this have never done it before. So if you could read a book and say, you know what? If you start cooking and you take a phone call, that's dangerous. You can't do that no more. Now it's outlawed. Now the phone ringing, you cooking. You say, oh, I want to answer the phone, but I want to answer the phone, but I'm cooking. I can't cook, and because my phone ringing out. Like, why is that factual? Because
doesn't your brain because of the oxygen in the brain?
So that mean everybody's the same. Everybody body reacts the same. That's what you're telling me.
That's
overall. Everybody's body reacts the same way to the same thing. I'm not problem. But if I got a guy that's weighing in 140 and he walks to the ring at 165, am I gonna be upset? No. I'm only upset if his opponent walking to the ring at 165, he walking to the ring at 145, 150. You know what I'm saying? That's the reason people start complaining. Look at Paul Williams.
Yeah.
Paul Williams would be 2 weight classes heavier than his opponent. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But he didn't win every fight.
Yeah.
It's not like he ran through the division, was undefeated. He still had his struggles. So that just because you're supposed to be that weight for what, 10 seconds. Be that way for 10 seconds, rehydrate. Me personally, I know you probably get a lot of backlash about this, but I just don't see the biggest issue. Okay. But if there is an issue, okay, you bring in this issue. The problem is when you got people telling you how to make weight that never tried to make weight before. That's the biggest issue. It's not so much of the rules they're giving you. It's the people that's giving the rules that they don't know how never done it, don't know how it feels to go through it. Not saying that's the only way you could give a rule if you've done it, but let's have a little bit more studies about this instead of one person's opinion about it.
I think more fighters need to be involved in this because they're the ones going through the weight cut. They're the ones going through all of it.
Thank you.
Ultimately, it'll work itself out too because any fighter who's putting on 20 pounds after their weigh-in, they're going to see by how they perform in the ring. They're going to see if they're too heavy, too sluggish, or any of those, things.
If you fight at 160, okay, and you fight at 160, and let's say you sparring at 175, okay, that's 15 pounds heavier, and you make the weight, and you rehydrate to 175, you will not see a difference the way he fight in the ring. Okay. Because he chose what weight he's going to rehydrate to because he know what weight he's performing at in the gym.
Okay.
But according to science and sanction bodies, that's too dangerous. He could kill himself. It's too dangerous. What if this happened? What if that? He could be like, but that's the way most guys is used to making weight anyway. Yeah. But now it's dangerous because he rehydrated over 10 pounds
to his normal natural weight.
So that makes it dangerous.
Okay. There's more oversight on that than some of these judges.
Ooh. Listen, let me ask y'all something before y'all go. I'm really curious to know y'all opinion about this. I really, really want to know this. I'm asking as a fan of the sport. What is there one particular or a couple particular rules to judge a fight? If 2 people fight, if this guy hit him 150 times. This guy hit him 101 times. But the guy that hit 101 landed more power shots than the guy that hit him 150 times. Who wins the fight?
That's a great question.
And that's
what do you value?
What do you value? Power or
work rate?
Yeah, the work rate or how they land.
So in other words, it's all subjective.
It's all subjective. It's all subjective.
There's no rules.
Yeah. So whenever they say, depending on which judge is watching, what they like to look at.
So there's no rules to the sport. There's no rules in judging. You judge how you feel, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
You judge how you feel, because if you see me going backwards the whole fight, but yet I'm connecting, to you like fighters to come forward. So you go give the fighter to come forward, he's winning all the rounds according to you.
No, that's true.
And I'm tagging the crap out of him.
I hate
like
the terms.
90% of the time when Sonny Liston and Ali fought, Ali was moving around. Sonny Liston was coming forward. Was he making the fight? Or was Ali just a mover that was tagging him?
Yeah.
I hate the term stole the fight at the end of the round. I've always hated that term. You forget, you just negate the whole
right.
First
it's like
half of the round.
Yeah, and then whoever ends in the flurry of the last 10 seconds.
I hate
it's
that.
like I'm like they did
fight.
all of this throughout the whole time, and then they did all that in the little short 10 seconds, and they're like, oh well, he kind of closed out the round. I'm like, oh, whatever.
So
I don't like that.
So that fighter wins that round.
Yeah.
Personally,
no matter what
I
he
favor
did.
effectiveness.
What?
I favor effectiveness.
Okay.
Whether it comes in more punch output or more power. Whichever fighter looks visibly shaken at the end of the round, that's who wins the round for me.
Yeah, mine is more effective punches.
So I don't care if it's 300 punches that are falling off the shoulders and pads.
Air. It has to be. They have to be effective punches.
If you watching a fight, this opponent hits a guy 150 times to the face. This opponent hits a guy maybe 50 times to the face, but the 50 times to the face, his 50 was more effective than 150. Because he got more bruises, but he hit his opponent 150 times. He's not a puncher. So the guy that hit the guy 150 times loses to the guy that hit him only 50 times.
Well, I think if somebody getting hit that many times, the referee's going to jump in anyway.
No, that's not true. I don't know what referees
not in this scenario.
That's not true.
Yeah, true.
That's not true.
True. I don't know. It's just a continued onslaught.
It's all subjective.
That's
my point. That was my whole point of bringing it up. It's all subjective. It's not a rule that you can go by. It's your personal opinion. And if you have a bad Saturday, morning, you go on that judge's table Saturday night, you're going to judge off of how you feel.
Yeah.
I know one thing I would like. I think they should move the judges from ringside and put them at a more elevated perch, because I feel like their perspective is limited, and a lot of these judges are seniors.
They're looking up like this. They need their eyes checked, honestly. They look like this.
I need my eyes checked. So I'm like, how are you seeing this? Let's say you're the judge here, over there where Johnathon is, and the fight's over here in the corner. How can you effectively see the fight? I mean, I know they have monitors and all that sort of thing. I value it more if the judges were elevated and can really see
it,
the action.
You don't see it like this, because you see it like...
Yeah, the ref might be right in front of you. You know, Bernard Hopkins used to do that when the ref was in front.
And the last question I know I got to go. The last question is, what is a knockdown? Can you possibly lose a round that you got knocked down in?
If the glove touches the canvas.
No, I'm saying if you got, it's a legit knockdown. You got knocked down. You got the 8 count. You went through the 8 count. Could you possibly still win that round?
If you get knocked down?
If you get knocked down.
That's happened before.
Yeah, I've seen that before.
It happened recently. Now I agree with that. I don't like that. Let's say you've been just battering somebody the whole round, they catch you with a flash knockdown. I don't think that's 10-8 round.
Even if it's not a flash knockdown. If it's a
just
really
any
legit
kind of
knockdown. If it's a legit knockdown and you beat the 10 count, you get up and beat the 10 count, and you start boxing, is it possible for you to still win that round? Or how many rounds do you win if you get one knockdown? Do you automatically win 6 rounds that you previously lost?
Oh, that's a good question.
My God, you're making us think, really think.
Yeah, because I mean, do you call it a 9-9 round? What do you really call it? Because people, it goes to that stealing the round thing.
Because the rules tells us a knockdown should be only 1 point.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what the rules say. So if I get up and hit you 10 times and I get 10 points, well, why am I still losing this round?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If it's truly 1 point. But does that knockdown decide the whole fight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Jonathan,
You gotta come back.
I know you have to come
You gotta
back
come
whenever
back.
Anytime.
when you're down in Vegas. Come hang out with us. We'll do a
Anytime.
full-on 2-hour with you because this is a we can
I
totally
just-
pick
I
up
just-
back on this.
If we do it again, I want you to write down like all these questions,
I can't.
and we're gonna go through. Well, we'll pick
I
three. We'll
honestly
pick like
can't.
3 or 3.
Because like my mind goes to the point where they got to be fresh and random. 'Cause
Oh, well, we'll
if
talk
I sit
about.
and, if I sit and
We'll
think
talk
about it, I
about
might have 150 questions.
everything.
We're gonna send you tape
Yeah.
of all your questions.
But Jonathan, thank you so much for
Nah, the pleasure's
surprising
mine,
us
man.
in
Y'all-
the studio.
You guys are doing wonders for the sport of boxing,
Thank
and
you.
I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Even
Thank you.
for I love to see female commentators and broadcasters that know what they're talking about.
Ah, thank
and
you.
It means a lot. You know,
Yeah, that means a lot to us,
It means
for sure.
it also means a lot to the sport. So I'm a fan of the sport. Whatever, anything that makes the sport more diverse or more whatever, as long as it's positive, I'm all for it.
Yay.
Oh, that's awesome.
you.
Yeah, we just need Gennadiy next. That's all. Let's make that happen. But well, Jonathan, the next time we'll see you, you're going to be here in Vegas actually, the next time we'll see you is in Jeddah, in the corner
yeah.
of Badou Jack, and can't wait to see your predictions.
Salute
and
to him.
Yeah, and then the next time we will see you here in Vegas for Canelo versus Gennadiy 3.
The trilogy.
Yeah,
if you
the
have
trilogy.
some time, come rock with us.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's a
it'd be
busy
my
week.
pleasure,
Yeah, and then we'll come
Crazy.
hang out with you. You have to come find us in our little corner where we're gonna do our. Yeah, we really will. We really will. I'll make Tom stalk you
Right.
and bring your ass
That
to
would be awesome. That would be awesome. It would be after, I believe I would want Ali to beat Rosario.
Yes. Oh yeah,
And-
that will be good. And then Gennadiy,
And
who's this?
This is awesome.
Oh, that's a
here.
great-
Oh, that's a great
This
photo.
is
Great
awesome.
photo.
I got to take a picture of this,
Oh.
and I'm gonna send it to him.
Tell Tommy we'd love. I love interviewing him. He's so funny.
I haven't interviewed him for years.
Listen, Tommy is a guy that we travel with Emanuel. He's the first time I usually hear these, oh man, it was electricity filled the place. The first time I walked into Staples Centers with Emanuel Steward and Tommy Hearns. And once we got into the arena part, going down the stairs, you literally felt electricity. People started gravitating. I quickly became a security guard.
No, that's awesome.
I quickly then became a security guard. It was insane.
This is awesome.
Oh, I don't have it on here. I have a really good picture of me, him, and Jackie Callan. I was interviewing
Oh.
him at an event in LA. That was pretty cool.
What was that? What is this? Oh,
Oh, Jonathan.
I know, Jonathan. We're gonna have to wrap, sadly, but thank you again
Well,
for
thank
coming
you
in and
all. The
surprising us.
pleasure's mine.
This was a really pleasant surprise. We were very excited.
I can't wait to clip this up.
I know. There's a lot of clippable moments, and yes, you don't have Twitter, do you?
I do. I just forgot my password. And I can't I got a new phone, and for some reason that particular password it was not saved. And for the life of me, I can't think of what this password
You're probably
is.
doing yourself a favor.
And I would hate to start all over. So, but
Just reset the password. Go to forget password, and then reset it through
But
your email.
I don't have the number that I use, nor do I have the email address that I use. So.
Just get a new one.
But
It's all
I
good.
just I'm not a big social media person anyway.
Okay,
so
well-
that's the problem.
Well, we're gonna tag it all over your Instagram. Thanks, training camp. Okay, we gotta
'cause
get
my
going.
sister gonna make sure I get it anyway.
Oh yeah, there you go. Just tell her to retweet,
right.
reshare
Share it everywhere.
everything.
Exactly. They go read everything.
Okay, well, this was a great episode. This was one of the best episodes because it's our very first live in-studio guest at the Brown Table Talk.
Yes, this is a safe space.
It is a safe space. Again, thank you for coming in, Johnathon Banks and Jeandra.
Pleasure's
This
mine.
was I can't wait to edit this one down. And I know you guys all have something to say what Johnathon Banks has said. So why don't you tweet at us? Tell
Tweet
us
us
what
your
you
opinions.
think, and like, share, subscribe all of our content on all of our socials. Again, I am Cynthia Conte.
And I'm Jeandra LeBeauf.
Thank you for tuning in to another edition of the Best Women's Boxing Show, period. See you guys at the fights. Bye, guys.